Good evening and welcome to the rest of the news. Our special guest tonight is Matt Singleton, and we're going to be talking about Obamacare.
All right. Good to see you again, Dr. Simon.
Good to see you, Matt. And the thing is, the open enrollment for changing your Medicare insurance is coming to an end right now, but we've been going through that. And I had to look into all of that because, to get insurance for myself. And what I found out is that the Medicare Advantage program that I used to have was essentially paying nothing anymore. It used to pay for everything, but I had an X-ray, and it didn't pay for the X-ray at all. Nothing.
Dr. Simon, Obama wants change, so you better empty your pocket.
I tried to get a medicine Part D program. Well, they wanted $35 a month. It only covered half of my medicines, and the copays all went up. So I'm saying to myself, there's a reason why all of these things are going up, and it's Obamacare.
Yep, Obama don't care. The thing is that, we think this is all going to simplify the system, that everything's going to be better, but, things get more complex when you add to them. So if you have, a system where you have, like, the hospital, and then you have insurance, and then you have the payer, well, when you add the government, when you put that on top of everything, that's a much more complex system.
This goes in, kind of covers the whole situation because it's got some of the Gruber quote on here, which basically what Gruber is saying, if I could summarize it or paraphrase it, he says that you and I are too stupid to figure out that Obama's been lying to us the whole time. So they're going to put through the Obamacare whether we like it or not. Well, we'd like to give everybody a copy of this DVD that's watching us. And the number to call right now is 893-2444. Call that number right now and we'll send you a copy of this DVD, which has the Gruber comments. Now, Gruber is the guy that wrote Obamacare, or a lot of it. And, of course, nobody knows what's going on because, Pelosi said she never heard of him.
Yeah. And
then they showed a clip of her saying, "Oh, thank you, Mr. Gruber, for writing Obamacare." So you can't tell anything.
But let's be fair, okay? Nancy Pelosi admitted that she had never read the bill before she got everybody to pass it.
Right. She wanted to pass it so she could find out what was in it, right?
This is a funny picture here we kind of noticed, and this is, as it says, and when they told them you can keep your doctor, and it shows Obama with some of these fellas laughing it up.
Yeah.
I think that says it all.
Well, the same thing when he said, "Oh, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor." And, and if you like your insurance program, you can keep your insurance program. And, of course, you really cannot because they've ruined the old. That's what I just went through, trying to get an insurance program that will actually pay for something. Unbelievable. So we went over this DVD on YouTube, and you saw it. And this guy is named Lee Kurusko, Kurusko, Kurisko, Lee Kurusko. And he's a medical doctor. He practiced in Canada for a number of years. And finally, the situation got so intolerable that he came to the United States. He's a radiologist. And he's saying that centralized control or socialized medicine, whatever you want to call it, has never worked, and it never will work. That the only thing that's going to work is the free enterprise system.
Well, I'll tell you what we have to remember is that the argument has been that they have such better health care in Canada, and if only we would get the health care that Canada has, that, everything would work out. And this guy's testimony is interesting because he does 2 points. Number one, he explains why it doesn't work.
Yes.
He talks about a incident with a relative of his who was still in Canada, and he told the doctor who was speaking, the speaker in the movie, he told him about his symptoms, and the doctor identified that as a cancer. And the doctors in Canada would not appropriately identify it that way, and the fellow got sicker and sicker. So then he had to move back to Canada for a little while to get the situation straightened out, and it was weeks and weeks and weeks before they finally did the proper procedures and stuff like that after he got back to Canada to help out his relative.
Everything is costing more and more because they're trying to predict the need for radiologists 5 years down the road or something. And they don't have the foggiest idea what it's going to be, and yet they think they know better than the free enterprise system as far as getting the right kind of doctors at the right place at the right time. And it just messes up everything.
Well, and like in the video, they talk about how when America was told about Medicare, they were promised that it would cost around, I think it was $10 billion. And the cost ended up to be well over $100 billion. And so when you give these projections, Obama's told us that Obamacare would cost about $10 trillion. It's like, are we ready for $100 trillion? Is that what's possible?
That's right. That's right. It's really something that the only way to operate the medical system is through free enterprise, where the doctor, the patient goes to the doctor, and the doctor works for the patient and tries to get him better. And if there's a big need for that particular specialty, then other people will go into that specialty because there's a big need for it. And so all of these things work very well because of the supply and demand free enterprise system. But when you get somebody up in Washington trying to say, oh, we need, more of this and more of that, it doesn't work out. Now, the thing is, he said, this system in Canada is so inefficient that they have to, it's costing a lot more than they thought. So they have to do something to control their costs. So they decided that the bureaucrats got together and said, well, the best thing to do is to have a doctor shortage. If there's a doctor shortage, then there won't be people admitted to the hospital. There won't be people having operations. There won't be people getting CAT scans. There won't be people going to specialists. We're just going to cut down on the doctors. So guess what? That's what they did.
Yeah.
They limit, say there's a medical school in Canada that, always took 100 new students every year. Well, they cut it to maybe 50 so that there were not enough doctors. And he showed a picture in here. Do you remember this? He had a picture of a line, several, looked like hundreds of people. And he says, you know what that line is? They're waiting to get seen by the doctor. Well, there's a new doctor moved in town, and they're trying to sign up for his clinic.
I tell you what, on a side point, there has been a form of socialized medicine in America, and that has been to our proud veterans. And I met a lady, unfortunately, there's legal issues with her giving her testimony. At some point, I'm hoping to get an interview with her anyway. But basically, she told me about military soldiers that were getting the wrong prescriptions or not getting them at the right times. Maybe they're, okay, well, now we're going to get you on this drug, and you come back for a refill, and we don't have it. All these different things that would really just destroy the lives of people who needed better health care than everybody else, considering what had happened to them.
Yeah.
And basically, that's kind of what we're talking about here. We say, okay, well, let's just cut down on your health care. You see, when we start talking about this issue of your body,
yeah,
do we really want the government to be in control of our health and our body? I'll put it to you like this. Even though I don't want to necessarily say this is exactly the same, the fact is that it was socialized medicine that was one of the key campaign points of Adolf Hitler. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people that count as deaths in the Holocaust died in medical facilities.
Yeah, I tell you, it's he goes into that some too. Not Hitler, but he's got Castro.
Yeah.
And he said, Castro says that he felt that health reform to have been an important battle and success of the Obama government.
Yeah, so in other words, Castro was saying that, hey, this is a key point, and this is how Obama is going to be successful.
Yeah. And here's a similar quote from Lenin, the communist in Russia. He says, socialized medicine is the key in the arch of the socialist state.
It is a great selling point, but is a terrible reality. Because once again, they say, we will provide you something that they really can't provide you. They want to say they'll take away all your problems, and when they tell you that, then you prepare for them to deal with all your problems. But when they don't come up with the money, where are you going to be stuck with? You see, that's the whole thing, is that the key to slavery is giving up responsibility. And when they tell our culture, don't worry, we have it. Don't be responsible for yourself. Everything's going to be fine. What they mean is everything's going to be fine with us because we will rule you. You will give up your freedoms.
Yes.
You will give up everything, and we will have control. And if they do have power over whether you live or die, then what's to stop them from taking away other freedoms?
Right. Now, here's a quote from Khrushchev, the communist dictator.
Back in the 60s, I think.
Probably. Yeah. And he says that the United States will eventually fly the communist flag. The American people will hoist it themselves.
And I'll tell you what, when you look at history and when you study the whole situation that was going on, really you got to look through the whole century, but when you look at that situation in the 60s, everything didn't look that way until by some strange anomaly, and as Christians we say by a miracle, they elected a president named Ronald Reagan. And that guy just went against the system, started turning things around, and really kept us from that. That's why he was the enemy of communism.
Yeah.
Okay? And I believe he was the enemy of communism both on the outside and on the inside as well.
Well, listen, Matt, I want to mention this once more. This DVD has 6 different clips on it. They're all each one's about 5 minutes long. And the other thing that's on here, it has a David Barton holding up a Bible. And he says this is a copy of the first Bible ever printed in the United States. And he says it was printed by the first Congress, by the Founding Fathers who wrote the Constitution. Okay? and it says in the congressional record that this Bible was commissioned for use in the public schools.
I tell you what, a lot of people don't understand our history and our past, but basically when you look at the most liberal, the most, the least Christian founding fathers and politicians, you will find them pushing the publication of the Bible. And the reason is because a responsible people has to have morals and responsibility.
Right.
They have to be self-governed, and that's what the Bible was about. It was the ability for people to read the law and understand righteousness and morality and responsibility on their own so that they could become a society that didn't need a government.
Right.
And that's the thing. They all uniformly
At least not a big government.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you look at the Founding Fathers, whether or not they personally believed in Jesus Christ, some of them I don't believe were born again, and that's a sad fact. But they still all recognized simple logic that, good books makes good people, and we want goodness in our people so that we don't have to rule them.
Right. Okay, so... the Supreme Court said, well, the Founding Fathers didn't want the Bible, and that's why we took it out of the public schools. But this puts the lie to that the Founding Fathers really did want the Bible and prayer and the Ten Commandments and all of that in our public schools. And when the Supreme Court came and take them all out, that was a Gruber. Okay? In other words, they're
messing it up. Hey, I'll tell you what, I've interacted with a lot of European people, and here is a deep, dark secret that they don't tell you about. You see, most of these European people and the European kids in the school systems, they all learn the Bible.
Really?
Okay? They are taught the Bible from an early age. Even, I heard a quote from Richard Dawkins, who's a supreme atheist, kind of evangelist of atheism. And he says he has no problem as the Bible being taught as history in a school. And the reason is because that teaches them morality so the whole system doesn't fall apart. They may not believe in God, they may not believe in all this stuff, but they do need a right and a wrong. They do need a society that knows that.
Yeah.
And what happens when they don't know? What happens when they're taught to do whatever they want to do? That's when society falls apart.
Exactly.
And that's what they're doing in America.
Now, the next section in this DVD that we want to give you free is a report from the New York Times about how they found weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
The next segment is a former CBS anchor reporter saying the Obama administration and the CBS basically wouldn't publish her stories or air them.
Yeah.
The next one is the Gruber statement where he says, oh, yeah, we're not going to tell the truth. They're so stupid they won't figure out the whole situation about Obamacare. The next one is 4 black activists from Chicago who are exposing how the Democratic Party has caused trouble with the black community. And that is very powerful. And the last one, the 6th one, is a black state senator from Louisiana, and the title of his presentation is Why I Am a Republican. So we'd like to send this to you right now. Call 893-2444, and we'll get it out to you right away. It's free, and what we'd like to do is have you look at it and show it to other people, and then there's a number on here. You call that number, and we'll send you more of them. And you can give them to all your friends and everybody that's concerned about our country.
I'll tell you what, you ask anybody on the street, is this government going well? Is our world going well? Is our culture going well? And they'll tell you the whole world's messed up. The whole system's messed up.
Right.
Everything is horrible. And then we come out and we say, well, we have factual proof of that.
Yeah.
And then they say, no, you're crazy. You're proving everything that we already know and we already talk about every single day. And that's the thing when we talk about these reporters. The reporters are being, pushed into an area where if they want the money that they make and they want the fame that they get, they have to go along with the storyline of everybody else.
Yeah.
And not just, but you check out that video of this woman, but also think about the story that came out earlier where the Obama administration was wiretapping the Associated Press.
Yeah.
That one was there and it came out, but, people didn't want to talk about it.
Somebody told me that they were erasing some of her stories on
Yes.
her computer.
Yeah, I saw that report. Apparently they had found out that there was a hacker and he was taking off, and she had to do everything she could to keep what stories that she had left.
Yeah. Okay, now he's the other thing on this video that we saw on YouTube about Obamacare, he says that there were some things that needed to be changed about the American healthcare system, like more health savings accounts and have insurance going across state lines so there's more competition, and tort reform, different things that needed to be done. But instead of tweaking the system, they took a Sherman tank and blew the whole thing up.
Yeah. And that is a common tactic. They like to take a problem or make a small problem and then blow it up, make it bigger. When we talk about the problems that are in our healthcare system, there are some problems that we've had in our healthcare system, but examine what those problems are and you'll find out that it is not about free economy. It is about complications and tactics that are against a free economy that have been distorting our health care.
The other thing that this video says is that, United States has the most, United States citizens have the most access to medical care of any nation in the world. Okay, so part of socialized medicine is to restrict access to the doctors, to the x-rays, to the operations and the things you need because they don't want to pay for them. So they say, oh, no, you have to wait in line for 6 years, 6 months or whatever it is.
There was someone associated with my church that had to go through that. And basically, they needed an extreme surgery, a transplant, I think, of intestines. They had to wait over a year, even though the doctor said that they would die in 2 weeks. Doctors say they're doing die in 2 weeks, and then they don't approve them for the surgery for over a year. And then after she had the surgery, unfortunately, she died within 6 weeks. And you kind of wonder, what if that had taken place when it was
needed.
time? Yeah.
Where was she? Is that in Canada or what?
She lived here. Eventually, she got the surgery out in Indianapolis. Now, it was very expensive. It was about $1 million, but basically the insurance just held off and held off and held off until that time. And I talked to some people with the news, and they wouldn't cover the story. We raised money for her at the church and stuff like that, did what we could do. But, it's just one of the many casualties of this type of system.
Right. Okay. So don't forget to call right now, 893-2444, and get this knockout video. Now, sometimes you'll turn on the television and they'll be talking about problems. This problem, that problem. Well, we're talking a little bit about problems, but really we're talking about the solution to all of these problems, and that is get this video and look at it and show it to your relatives and neighbors and friends and get people involved in correcting the problems, and instead of just wringing their hand, oh, this is terrible, it's with God all things are possible, and we can turn this thing around. If people, a lot of people don't realize what's going on, and if we can get these videos out and then we can inform people, and then we can work together and turn things around and get rid of the people that are causing the problem and correct it.
And that's one of the biggest things. I mean, it's like, I know I'm not alone doing ministry and stuff. I've been around a lot of people who've been in the hospital. I've been around a lot of people who've gone away. I've been in situations where my own family, basically, they kind of say, well, hurry up and get them out, hurry up and take them to the hospice, get them out of here, and saying that right in front of them, and you kind of wonder, did they really hear what that nurse was talking about them in front of their family? It's a really rough situation right now. It's just going to keep on getting rougher. But the thing is that great things are easily able to be done. You have to work hard, but great things can be done. If great things can be done for evil, and many great things have been done for evil, then great things can be done for good. And you can make a difference, okay? Don't say, oh, well. Say, I'm not stopping. Saying, I'm not giving up. I want a better society. I want to love my neighbor. I want to do something, okay? Right. And you read this information. You take it in, okay? Test it. Test it all you want. And then what happens is that once you are convinced, start making a difference. Start calling people. Call your congressperson, call your senator, call the governors, call the mayors, call the hospitals, call everybody, and start saying, hey, we need to do something, okay? And the more, you do it, the squeaky wheel will get the grease.
That's exactly right. So I tell you, we can overcome all of these problems with God's help.
Amen.
And so it's just a matter, we got to all work together. Everyone's got to do something. Matt and I are here trying to do what we can, but if you'll get one of these DVDs, it will be a tremendous help to show other people, maybe your relative, your neighbor, your friend, and get them involved. Let them know what's going on. This Gruber is unbelievable. He's the guy that wrote Obamacare and basically says, oops, we lied about the whole thing. Yeah. And, that's the guy who wrote the program. So you got to see this for yourself. People won't believe this unless you show them the DVD. So call in right now. Well, look, Matt, we're about out of time. The number again, 893-2444. So call in. Thank Matt Singleton for being with us. And tune in again next week for the rest of the news.